You are listening to the Martial Arts Lifestyle Podcast, where each week we have a conversation with everyday martial arts practitioners. From the first motivation to train, martial arts enriches our lives and becomes a lifestyle. Welcome to the individual stories of those martial artists living that lifestyle. You are listening to the abbreviated version. For those of you checking this out on YouTube, please hit the like and subscribe buttons. Full-length versions of this podcast can be subscribed to at our Patreon page, is www.patreon.com/malmag. Or individual full-length episodes can be purchased at our Gumroad page at malmag.gumroad.com. Before we begin this week's program, I would like to remind you to check out martialartslifestylemagazine.com to see articles on the martial arts. Click on the Store tab to find products for the practice of Southeast Asian martial arts, featuring Timmy B's brand sticks. Check out the Courses tab, currently featuring a course on the Dos Manos method of the Filipino martial arts. Also check out our Places to Train page, featuring top quality martial art academies from around the world. And of course, check out our events page for seminars and events coming up around the world. To see your school listed in our Places to Train page or your event on our events calendar, contact us at malmagonline@gmail.com. This week I get on Zoom and I connect to Utah and I talk to an old friend from the Inosanto Academy, Saeed Badiei. We talk about how he got involved in martial arts in his native Iran decades ago, how the first martial art he studied got banned by the Islamic revolutionary government, his arduous odyssey in immigrating first to Germany and then to the United States, and how he got involved in the martial arts scene in the United States, and much more. Sit back and enjoy. Awesome. Well, I like it. We're both in the same shape here. We got our glasses on. We got our coffee going. We're our hot beverage of whatever going. We're ready to go. We mean some business here today. Welcome to the Martial Arts Lifestyle Podcast. And today I've got kind of a treat. I'm going to say a treat for me. This was someone that I trained with at the Academy and very much enjoyed. He was a very experienced martial artist, bringing a great diverse background. And I think we had a lot of great sessions, just a lot of fun at the Academy. And then what happens with a lot of life, people move to different places, and he's off to more scenic pastures in Utah. So I'm talking to Utah. This is my old friend, Saeed Badiei, and I'm so happy to catch up with you. So folks that are listening, this is the first time Saeed and I have talked probably since, I don't know, before COVID, probably, I think.
Oh,
For
yeah.
Sure.
Oh, yeah, before COVID, yeah.
Yeah, so
it's been 11 years since I left LA.
Oh my God, seriously?
11 years ago,
long?
yeah.
So it may be our first time talking in 11 years that you all have to sit through now.
Pretty much, I mean, I always
Yeah.
hear about you through other colleagues and stuff like Todd, Bigelow, things like that. And,
Right.
Through Dwight Woods, I always hear your name coming up. So you
Thanks,
famous.
Dwight. That's right. Or infamous, one of the two, right?
That's pretty cool.
Yeah, exactly. Well, I mean, it was always neat because I think there's like you, Todd, and Reza kind of all came to the Academy about the same time. You guys go back, so we'll get into that because that's to me it's such an interesting story. I love when Todd tells me those stories about you guys. Back in the day, I'm like, oh, you guys sound like a wild bunch. I like it.
Yeah, we were a wild bunch. Seriously,
Well,
you're right.
Well, let's go back to kind of your origins with the martial arts. How did you get interested and get involved in martial art training?
I was 15. I was 15 when I got introduced to martial arts. This goes back to Iran. That era was right after the 1979 revolution,
Mm-hmm.
and was the practically people chose to change the regime pretty much at 1979, which was kind of like dynasty. The Shah
Oh yeah,
was Shah was the king, and he got the crown from his father and things like that. So after the revolution, like about a year later, I got introduced to martial arts through my brother, which he was 2 years older than me. And one day he came home and he started kind of like showing me some kind of like moves, and I'm a teenager. I don't know these things. And I was like, that looks cool. What is that? And he's like, that's Kung Fu. I'm like, what? Kung Fu? And he's like, yeah, our cousin, our second cousin was into Kung Fu. And he taught my brother a few moves. And then when he came home, he showed me those moves. And he's like, would you like to learn this stuff? I'm like, of course. It looks awesome. I don't know if my brother was doing it right or not, but it looked good. So he took me to my second cousin's house. He was probably 25 then. His name is Farzin Raji. And he was studying this Kung Fu that was created by actually this military general that he got funding through the government, the previous government, to go study martial arts because he already had ranking in like taekwondo and karate, things like that. So he got recognized by Shah, which was the king, and he got funded, and he told him to go study from abroad, like go to wherever you want, like Eastern countries. He went to Japan. And he studied, and he came back, and he created his own system, and he named it Kung Fu Toa, which was very different than any other martial arts I ever seen, because the movement was kind of like a mix between the soft style and the hard style. So it was a combination of that. But anyway, Farzin, which was that 25-year-old second cousin of mine, he was studying that system. And then my brother took me to his house, and he's like, would you work with my brother? And he's like, sure. He had kind of like a backyard, and he had settings, things like that, and he worked in the backyard. And he took me under his wings, and for 3 months, he taught me, like I would go there every day, and he taught me some stuff. And then after 3 months, he said, you know enough to put you in a class that I go to.
Oh, wow.
I was like, wow, you think so? I'm like, okay, let's go. So he signed me. We went and we signed up at his studio that he was going to. And I got pretty much hooked right after that. And we started doing that. The problem was that this system of Kung Fu got mixed with a little bit of politics back then, because right after the revolution, the man, that general or that military official that went to Japan and brought the system back to Iran, he got involved in politics, and this politic was right after the revolution, and it's very kind of like hard to explain how it was. So the new regime, which is Islamic now, and is Islamic regime, is trying to suppress everything. And there is a group of young people that are against them from right after the beginning. And many of these people they were doing this martial arts. And what the regime came and said, you know what, we're going to close the schools. They closed all the Kung Fu schools that they were staggered through Iran. And they closed them all. And the leader, which was this guy, his name was Ibrahim Mirzai. So he ended up, it's a long story. He ended up kind of getting shot by the militias, and he got shot, but he got shot in his leg.
Okay.
So, and then after that, he kind of flee Iran. He went to Germany, blah, blah, blah. So the regime kind of banned this system. And by now, I was like, Kevin, cut it. I was a couple of years into the system already. And I got to tell you, the backbone of the system was based on many like calisthenics, stretching, body hardening, right after bat. Like if the class was, let's say, 2 hour long was just physical fitness,
Wow.
getting you ready. And the second half was more technical. So I think that kind of like made my body like change right at the beginning, and I was young, so my body adapted, the flexibility really quick, because
Hmm.
genetically, I think, like my older brother is also in martial arts. He's in Germany. He was the same way. Our bodies were very elastic right after the beginning, and the system helped me to develop that.
Hmm.
Like I would say, how they do the 180 degrees, the stretch.
Yeah, yeah.
So in the first 6 months, I did 180.
Wow.
Yeah, because part of it was genetic, and part of it was the way they're approaching the style. So after they closed down all the schools and stuff, and already hooked, but already had a lot of colleagues that we do want to train still.
Right. Yeah.
Like we're 17, we're 18, so we gathered at the parks.
Right. Now,
We
was
got
there? It sounds like an interesting atmosphere. I mean, what I find amazing here, Saeed, what I'm really loving about this is the historic connection to a very large event, which is honestly the first thing I remember very well in history as a kid. I remember the Iranian Revolution when I was a kid because it made
Yes.
big news over here, and I was about fifth grade, going into sixth grade at the time. And so it's interesting, and I think the very fortunate thing about Los Angeles is meeting a lot of people who are from Iran
Yeah.
and who were alive. So I'm getting the human face on the side of what was going on, and this is like such an interesting story of like a kid. And then, I mean, did you feel anything like this was kind of dangerous to try with the guy kind of getting shot because of it?
Oh yeah. Like we
Okay.
we only got together at night.
Wow.
Yeah, and then we got together in the parks, like kind of like they would close the parks, and then but we kind of hop the fence,
Yeah.
and I go to different parks, and then we'll gather like group of like maybe 10 or 15, or
Wow.
whatever,
Okay.
8, 9. So whatever we could get our hands on, and then we always found a senior a student that they knew that he knew more than us, so he could
Hmm.
actually teach us. So right in this era, I was like, you know what, this is not the way you can train, with kind of like tippy-toeing everywhere and then hopping in the fence. So I decided change the kind of like the path, and I started going to a school of karate.
Hmm.
Now I have this little 3 years background in kung fu, but I went to this Kyokushin school.
And this was one that the government allowed.
Yes,
Okay,
government
got it.
didn't. Yeah, government wasn't against those systems. This
Hmm.
particular system, because the
Connection to the
founder
guy.
the
I
founder
gotcha.
was
Hmm.
actually a military uh, personnel, which was high ranked under the Shah. So
Right.
they were already red flagged him, and then he got involved in politics a little bit.
Right.
So that particular system was banned. But the
Okay.
rest of, like, you could go to taekwondo, you could do karate, no big deal.
Okay.
But this particular system, imagine, like, the government comes and says, you know what, nobody else can do FMA. What
Right.
the hell?
Yeah.
You just like, what do you do? So, well, anyway, so I went to this Kyokushin style, which was kind of near our home. And, Kyokushin is very strong in Iran.
Hmm.
They always like produce, high ranking, and they're fighters, and, because over there is organized by federation, you know, it's very, you know, they have a lot of hands
Hmm.
in the whole gig.
You're right.
So I did a little bit of Kyokushin, and I started kind of getting interested in the system, because Kyokushin, I didn't know many differences between karate styles then, because I was
Hmm.
young. But I noticed, like, Kyokushin has very powerful, like, sparring is kind of different than anything else on before. It's a full contact, they kick in the head, but they don't punch in the face. So it was interesting for me.
Hmm.
And I started studying that, by then, I've been already graduating the high school. And right after high school, so I'm like, what I'm going to do? I'm going to go ahead and get into the system because, literally my family and my whole entire, I would say, relatives, we were against this new regime because they were suppressing the people. I was thinking as a young kid, do I want to stay here in the country and, like any other kid, continue maybe going to school, go to university. What am I going to do? Do I want to stay here? So the reason I chose to leave Iran, it was because I already had my siblings go to Germany.
Okay.
My oldest, because I'm the last of I'm 8.
Okay.
So I'm the last one. So the older ones are already gone, and I'm pretty much, I'm at home by myself, pretty much, hanging around with mom and dad. And my mom and dad is like, you know what? You need to make a decision. Do you want to stay here, or you want us to take care of you and send you out? Because in Iran, it was also the 8-year
War with Iraq.
the
Yeah.
war with Iraq started it, and I was actually
Oh, that's right. Draft age. Yeah.
I was
Yeah. That's a
draft
real threat,
age.
right? Wow.
Yeah, I was draft age, and also it's a mandatory. It's mandatory to go to military for 2 years.
Wow.
All the guys have to go. There is no way. There is no other way around it, unless you, let's say you go to a university and then you continue going through the ranks of the university and finish university, but still at the end of the university, you still have to face the 2 year of military.
Oh boy, yeah, man. Okay.
So there's no way around it.
No way around it. Okay.
There's no way around it. And my dad didn't want me really there anymore because we had in our family, in our close relatives, we had about 7 or 8 people executed already.
Oh wow.
From this new regime because they were activists, they couldn't keep their mouth shut, and they would speak their minds, and they were older than me. They were like I would say between 20 to 30, and I was like 18 to 20. I was like right around the age because I would have seen myself pretty much being the next if I would have stayed there because I couldn't keep my mouth shut either. So my mom was very afraid.
Feeling. I really understand. I relate.
Yeah, my mom was very afraid of me staying there because we already gone through dealing with a bunch of our cousins and things like that, captured, imprisoned, and later on, without any court or proper judicial system, get executed.
Right.
It was just kind of like, what's going on here? And and you're a young person, you kind of can't really understand all this happening,
right?
Because it was too much for a young person to understand, So they decided to get me out of the country in a illegal way. So we found a smuggler. We paid them a ton of money to get me out of the country through the mountains, going through the north of Iran into Turkey.
Into Turkey,
from Turkey, hopefully I can manage a way to go to Europe, which was my brothers and sisters were already there. And I'm already doing martial arts up to that point, doing Kung Fu at the beginning and then Kyokushin, blah, blah. And then this period of kind of leaving Iran to get to Germany, it took about 6 months.
Wow.
I went to Turkey. I stayed about a few months, and which from there to go to Europe, I had to kind of have a false passport because I didn't have any proper documentation either.
Now, did you know people in Turkey, or was this all part of just a network? So you were staying with strangers, or?
Yes, it was kind of like that initial money we paid, it covered all that to kind of like, get me a passport, get me a place to stay,
Oh,
and also my siblings were connected from that side. My brother came to Turkey to kind of see what's going on. And let me tell you the story. So the first time I was going to go ahead and leave Turkey into going to Europe. So I'll go to the airport. My brother is next to me, and he's all legit. He has passport and everything. And I have
right.
this false passport. I'll put my passport in front of the guy. In, sorry, Kevin.
That's
Kevin,
okay.
hi. Somebody dropped off the mail. I'm sorry. But anyway, I came to.
Your dog's doing his job, man.
Yeah, I came to the. We were in Istanbul, so the airport. We entered the airport, and I got to the line. Gave the guy my passport, and he's looking at my passport and going like this. And I was like, oh my God! And I don't speak the Turkey. I don't speak
Right,
English. I mean, I maybe a few words and anything, but I don't really speak
right,
it.
right.
So, and he shake his head. He's like, you can't go. This is passport, no good, no good. And then my brother said, Saeed, how about we just, we give him some money right here and maybe he can go. So we put like, I don't know, maybe like $500,
Mm-hmm.
inside the passport, and I shoved the
Yeah,
passport back in again.
yeah.
And then he opened it up. He saw the money and he closed it, but he didn't take the money.
Mm-hmm.
He pushed it back into me. He's like, no, you can't leave. I was like, what the hell is going on?
Yeah.
So my brother is like, you know what? So I told him, I said, you go back, because he could go back.
Right.
So I said, you go back. Don't worry. I'll find a way. Now I'm like, 19, 20, 18, 19, 20.
Uh-huh.
So I went back. I went back to where I was staying. This student, he was Iranian, but he lived in Istanbul. And I stayed with that student. He gave me like a room, and he said, you can stay with me till we get your, problem solved. So right after, I would say another couple of weeks went by, we spent some more money to find the second smuggler to take me from Istanbul to
Mm-hmm.
the next destination. So listen to this. This is the craziest thing you probably hear. So what happened is this smuggler, he bought the entire transit for 1 hour.
Oh,
That means
wow.
he could besides humans that he was trafficking
Yeah,
us,
yeah.
he probably could like send drugs out of there,
Oh, yeah.
anything. I mean, like you name it, the whole transit was bought by him.
Wow.
Because back then in Turkey it was very corrupt. Still is, but
Yeah.
back then it was worse. So equivalent, I would say probably about $1,000. It was my share to give it to him, and he handled it. And then this time around, they didn't even see my passport.
Wow.
He's like, go, you can go. It was like a few of us.
Wow.
So from there, we flew to one of the Eastern European countries, because back then it was East and West.
Right, yeah.
So we flew. I don't remember which one we flew to.
And this concludes the abbreviated version of the podcast. Please consider supporting the program by going to www.patreon.com/malmag and subscribing to the show. You can also purchase this individual episode or any individual episode at our Gumroad page. That's malmag.gumroad.com. Thank you for listening to this episode with Saeed Badiei. Coming up next week is our 150th show featuring the legendary Bob Brand. Our Malmag online store at martialartslifestylemagazine.com has a full selection of Timmy B's brand sticks for FMA and Krabiker Bong. Timmy B's brand now selling in Japan as well. Beautiful Timmy B's brand shirts and Dos Manos shirts are available. We also have sarongs, molongs, and wooden training knives. An online course in the Dos Manos method for FMA is available under the Courses tab. More courses coming soon. Check out the Places to Train tab to find schools near you, and click on the Events Calendar page to see what seminars and events are happening all around the world. And of course, visit our main page for articles on the martial arts. Music by Arthur J. Martial Arts Lifestyle Magazine and the Martial Arts Lifestyle Podcast are trademarked and copyrighted by TNT LLC.